Okay, it's Saturday afternoon, the 24th of February. I ordered some food that'll get me through the end of the month, and so there's some peace of mind about that if it's not stolen. Now that sounds weird, but things have been stolen from me. Food and one thing or another. I've already talked enough about that. What kind of got my attention was a report from the BBC, some quotes, of Trump and his campaign. He's very explicit. He's talking about revenge and one thing or another, whipping up a crowd. Something he's entitled to do. That's what he's doing, but of course, history buffs can draw parallels. It should be noted, that kind of stuff, and even worse stuff, was common in the early days of the colonies before there was the United States of America. Really some amazing campaigns. We only know a little bit that can be authenticated, but it's enough to suggest that far worse happened. In fact, there were, vigilantes. Tough politics. Not everybody made it to the polls. I'll put it that way. But people don't want to dwell on that. I think, not everybody will make it to the polls this time because people are counting on a blizzard of absentee voting, mail-in ballots and stuff, and yet they're the same people who are insane about the need. Part of their religion is the hard copy voting machine in a fire department garage or basketball court in a city system or something. I think it's an outrage not to have mobile vote option. But nobody talks about that because the same thing that has me in trouble with Zuckerberg has a lot of people in trouble with those who really have the ways and means to cherry pick, you might say. There are various ways to do it. To formulate a certain body of opinion that shows up to vote in every election, thus maintaining democracy. Well, anyway, I don't know what Biden plans to say. If I take just a short sample, there have been rumblings to that effect, since several months ago, and now, by golly, it's not yet time for the general campaign, but already the talk is, I remember they used to say, "Give 'em hell, Harry." Well, he did, but he never said anything about revenge, that I can recall. There are those who claim that revenge is, one of their inalienable rights. I don't know how many people can argue against that. If nobody can, I frankly won't be surprised, but I wonder, for example, how Robert Kennedy Jr. would address that kind of thing. I don't know what he would say about Biden's arguments. I haven't heard them. Maybe he has. I don't know. Of course, the media, understandably right now, in the primary season at least, can justify, leaving third-party candidates out of the coverage. Well, that can be rationalized. as part of their focus on ongoing campaigns, as if the two parties needn't be concerned with a third-party challenge. Well, of course, the de facto thing is to shut Robert out and claim that they don't have to cover him until later. Who can argue with that? Can Robert argue with that? Well, if he spent enough money, we might hear a peep from mainstream media, but everybody knows basically they're not even full-blown reliable surveys of where people get their news this election cycle, proportionately and including trends. A snapshot would be good, but then a study of the trends would be informative. A lot of people say that they just don't even bother with mainstream media. Well, I wonder what they think about BBC. It's true, I'm not looking to the New York Times, or they have a paywall that hair lips hell. There used to be a few who maintained, both content that was behind a paywall and content that was charitable content or what. But they don't seem to be very relevant anymore. There weren't but two that I knew of that had any clout. Well, I don't know, and I won't get into the details, but I don't sit here and pay much attention to events online the way I used to. And I do pay attention to things that I've put onto my list on Roku, and I noticed that I'm a little better off just clicking on things that are not necessarily having to do with politics at all. But I recognize that politics matters. I think they'll, within 1%, the votes will come in the way they will have been predicted 5 days beforehand. The glide paths are such that those with the media clout can fine-tune, if not reality or the universe or something like that, they can certainly fine-tune elections. Like landing a great big huge plane with more than a few people on it. Media can determine what voters want and who they are, and they're not confused by those who don't vote, and so they can really focus on getting the results that they want, and I think that's a skill that needs to be understood by people vitally concerned with corporate media. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll find out something about Robert later, or maybe he'll, do some ads or something. But the way I stay in bed with Roku, now that I have the remote for that I didn't have before, I won't be looking at stuff where his ads might turn up, and if they turned up, for somebody like me, then I wonder if he might have spent the money better elsewhere. Preaching to the choir is not necessary, and I hope he knows that, and maybe he'll spend his money. I know people are donating to the campaign. If I see too many of the ads, then it means maybe I should write in and say, I'm seeing too many of your ads, and I suggest you, try to meet some other criteria. Although some would say, well, that makes no sense because of X, Y, and Z about how advertising works and yada, 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 round and round, Well, I've said enough, obviously. I've said enough. 10 minutes? Almost 10, about a little over 10 and a half minutes. So I'm going to call it quits. There seems to be something wrong with shock and awe about some stuff. So having to do with media and Microsoft and beyond. Something that happened when I was talking about goodwill the last time I made a recording. Alright. Okay, now it's about 11 minutes, and that'll do for now. Y'all have a great weekend. What's left of it anyway.